everyone, welcome to Living La Vita Loca podcast, a retro gaming podcast for some of your retro gaming needs. My name is Fazz.
And I'm Rich. Why did I say it like that?
I feel like we always start these podcasts, certainly more nowadays, like where we have a conversation. I'm usually giggling, which might signify to people listening that we're having a good time, but it's usually I've just said something stupid like I just have, and I'm giggling embarrassedly, and then just go, right, start the podcast. So it sounds good.
You know, you start smiling, and then I start talking, and everything just kind of slows down.
Yeah, but in a nice way. I told you before that my wife finds your voice soothing over the other waves. When
I'd kind of forgotten that.
Over the, you know.
Forgotten or repressed, one or the other.
It's a good thing. I told you. That was, you know, it's like a radio show host. I think we had that before where we said we were going to do a morning radio show at some point when somebody picks us up on this podcast. Clearly.
Yeah, because that's going to
happen. Anything, you know, gaming related happened to you recently? This is a loaded question, obviously, because obviously that in so much that like different from podcasting or anything. Loaded question for me to go, oh, this thing happened to me, but,
right?
You know.
Has anything happened to me?
Yeah, has it?
Not really.
No, fair enough. That's fine. No,
why?
Well, this is why you ask. No, it just that I got rid of a Game Pass Ultimate for the first time in 6 years. So,
right, wow, that is a big step.
Yeah, it's down at Essential now, so it's still there existing. But I got it for £4 a month on a voucher code. But yeah, it was just that was something that happened that I think I'm just kind of finally off the Xbox Game Pass drug. Because there's just so much good stuff on there, but it's just sitting there. It's not like I get that. Yeah. I'm not playing for the podcast. I'm not playing it for me. And really, that isn't there is stuff that I possibly would play for me, but like that I don't think anybody would be interested in necessarily listening to. But yeah, I was just a bit like, because I've got PS Plus, and I bought that for like £80 in the Black Friday sale, and then I've just managed to get off a buying and selling group on Facebook a Nintendo like year-long code for £8. That is right. So yeah, I put that in. It was absolutely fine.
Off Facebook.
Yeah. Just wow. So a guy just, I mean, I don't want to ask where it came from, but like, as in he seemed to have like
prepaid code thing.
He seemed like a legitimate person. I saw that someone had just bought one off him and said, this person's a legitimate seller. Pay him £8, he will give you service. And it was just like, okay, and I did. And it was like, yeah, brilliant. So, you know, rather than the £30, I think it is, if you just did it normally. So I was a bit like, I'm trying to have a thrifty year of gaming.
Yeah.
I've got enough.
Yeah, I think I need to slim down my my collection over there a little bit.
I mean, yeah, but at least yours is like there physically. You can see it, you can touch it, and it feels like something.
Kind of the problem.
Yeah,
I need to make space for Warhammer and stuff, and I've got space is becoming a bit of a premium. So
yeah,
it's like, you know what, like Burnout 2. You know, seeing as my eyes just rested on it, like, do I still want that kicking around? Probably not so much.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think I need to go through it with a bit of a critical eye and upload some stuff.
So on that note, then, talking about Burnout 2, and should we talk about not hashtag Dryve January, but it's now Dryve February, but we've still got some Dryve January to deal with.
Still driving.
Not
out of roads yet.
Like Thelma and Louise.
We don't need roads. Where we're going.
To the bottom of the cliff, basically.
Yeah, basically the bottom of the barrel.
Yeah. Well, we don't know that yet about the games that we're playing.
That is true.
I'm intrigued to see or listen to your review of the game that you're playing.
Gravel.
Yeah. I'd like it to be gravel with a little inflection on it. Mostly because I think it was about a year ago I said, oh, why don't we get this gravel game?
You should pick up gravel.
For £2, and then I've just not touched it.
It's
but
dirt cheap, and it's like Sega Rally, they said.
Yeah. So I'm intrigued to hear that, especially since I saw that a friend on Instagram, RetroRat90, he said that actually it's a bit of an underrated gem for him. And he's into like Tokyo racers and extremes and stuff like that. So I mean, so I'll be interested to hear what that's like. I have played Micro Machines. I don't really have a segue necessarily, like, you know, big
cars, but
big cars. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I mean, you're not using roads for that. I guess you go around like gardens and stuff.
Yeah. So yours is an off-road.
Yeah. We really didn't need roads.
No, yeah.
Fuck you, roads.
Who knew we were going to get rid of roads on this?
Anti-driving January. Walking January.
And then I thought we could have a bit of a, let's talk about what we scored this month and have a bit of a, what is the champion of Dryve January for us, even with different scores. I mean, we had an arbitrary score recently that was like 10 out of 10, so probably that. But
yeah, I think it might have won.
Yeah. But we can talk about it for like 2 minutes for people's
argue the toss.
I want to say people's enjoyment, but mostly just wasting time somewhere in your car or at work or in the shower. I don't know.
Who's listening to us in the shower?
I listen to podcasts in the shower.
Yeah,
not us,
you know
though.
what?
Yeah. Are you saying quality podcast that won't freak you out in the shower?
I mean, in a hypothetical world, if I was listening to this in the shower and someone has just said about being listened to in the shower, I would be freaking out about now. I'm just think of the people.
Okay, sorry guys. Right. So, on that note, then, do you want to talk about? I guess probably needing a shower after being off road in a vehicle on gravel.
Right. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Fucking hell.
Well,
told you. Nervous giggle.
I wrote a lot of stuff down.
Excellent.
I haven't reread any of it, so I'm sort of winging it. Right. Yeah. So this came out in what? 2018?
Yeah, I think I got 2017, 2018 written down somewhere.
It's there or thereabouts. It's, in the grand scheme of things that we have covered, it's one of the more recent things, I guess, in that respect, but still not far off 10 years old.
So I think that I remember reading it as a year older than Dirt Rally 2.
Okay.
And that was not necessarily, I don't know, I know it's not a rally game, but...
No, but there's definitely some. It definitely reminded me of like the era of dirt games where they were trying to go a little bit more like Forza and kind of do it as a little bit of a festival type thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's just that on this one, it's doing the whole, I don't know, TV show thing.
Okay.
It's pretending to be a channel.
Yeah. Split secondy. That was like a TV show situation.
Really repetitive and like, oh, you're watching Gravel Channel. And if you're looking at these beaches and you're thinking about relaxing, you're in the wrong place. And you hear that every time you go on the tracks from that place. It's a lot. And I think like if there's one way of feeling dated in terms of presentation, like straight out the gate, that's a pretty good way of doing it.
Yeah.
And you'll go through various events and championships and you have to, beat something like 4 off-road driving masters, one from each discipline and stuff like that. But they all have a little intro video, like they're a rock star or a bad boy and all that kind of stuff. And you're just like, the fuck is this? But ultimately, if you're getting hung up on all that kind of stuff, you're kind of ignoring what you're there for, really, aren't you? Because it's all about just hurtling around.
Yeah,
muddy,
we talk about
places.
We talk about trimmings, though, don't we? About them being slightly important. And if you get good trimmings, that can take a game.
It can elevate.
Yeah, exactly.
It can elevate
to another place.
Also, soundtrack and stuff like that. I can't remember any of it for this. Like, it just is sort of there.
Yeah.
So it's not a great first impression.
Okay.
I think is fair to say. There's the usual sort of collection of modes that you can have, like the various sort of events you can go in as part of like a kind of longer term career type thing where you get a certain number of stars. You can unlock events as you build up these stars, and then you take on those 4 people as almost like little gatekeeper kind of bosses.
Yeah.
So you beat one, you unlock another couple of events and stuff like that. And you've got your usual other racing type things besides that, like free race and time trials, all that good stuff.
There's quite a lot of content, would you say? From Sorry, was I misreading that?
It's laid out differently.
No.
In fact, one of the notes that I do remember writing down, and I can't for life of me find it, is I was glad that I picked up the edition that has the DLC bundled in.
Okay.
Because all of that DLC gets added to like the first section or 2 in the career. So if you are grinding for stars because like you are particularly shit at like, I don't know, the cross-country checkpoints or whatever, you can go through a bunch of stuff and just get 1 star for turning up and finishing, and it will still count.
So it's a positive integration, at least.
Yeah, like it front loads it.
Yeah.
It gives you it early. And I think if I hadn't done that, I would have played more of the sort of length of the career. But I could imagine that I would be in a position where I was feeling a little bit more hard done by it.
Mm-hmm.
And the huge thing to remember with this is like it is dirt cheap. Haha. And I mean, it was what, £2-3 or something on Steam when I picked it up.
I was thinking about what could I put on the. I don't even know what's on the blurb of this podcast anymore. But I'm sure when I was thinking about it, I was like, what is a comparative thing to £2.50 ish? What, like a McDonald's double cheeseburger nowadays? If you think that is it worth a McDonald's double cheeseburger in 2026?
I'm pretty sure it's less than a coffee in most places. So on the one hand, for what I paid, like, thumbs up, well done. On the flip side, why do you have to reduce it that much so often?
Yeah.
You know?
Why are you in all the humble bundles?
And you start to get into it. And like, I can see why somebody would say it's an underrated gem, because I can imagine there would be plenty of people out there that are lining up around the block to give it an absolute kicking.
Mm-hmm.
Like on the track, it's fine. It's generally pretty good. It can be really, really good fun. Do not get me wrong. Like I am not like down on this game. I'm just kind of hum on this game.
Also not up.
yeah. Like I was thinking about like benchmark games, right? So like in my head, Carmageddon 64. That is my like
the worst game that you've played.
As Carmageddon, something terrible has happened. If you're as good as Castlevania Symphony of the Night,
something good has happened.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't really have much kind of in between. And I was thinking about this, and I think this might be like my 5 out of 10 benchmark.
Okay,
I think this is like
the most average game.
I think this might be so average. I'm just like, agnostic towards it. It's just like, and as I say, don't get me wrong, it is not a bad game. It's just that there's a couple of things in it that I play it, and I'm like, okay. So it's got a like a rewind feature, as was common for races at the time, and all that kind of stuff.
Historical context.
And it kind of feels like you can abuse it a little bit. Like I don't know if it's how it's implemented, or if you can do this in a load of other games that have similar mechanics and I've just never noticed. But things like if you rewind it and you start again, but you're holding down the brake, you can brake earlier, it seems, than like the brakes come on quicker than they would have at the same time, which I get is the point. It's just that it seems like starting the playback braking when I was like, I'm not having to react. It's not like it's giving me a second where I'm still at full pelt and I kind of have to account for it, and it felt like I was cheating somehow.
Well, you are
rewinding it like I was. But then you add in things like some of the scenery is breakable. So, you might break something, but it's kind of half hiding a rock. And so the first time I go around, I'm ploughing into a rock. I rewind, and then I'm just kind of gracefully skirting around the rock and all that kind of stuff, which again, I get is the point. It's just that there's something about how it's in the game that just doesn't feel like it's kind of playing by its own rules.
Yeah, that's
a little
weird,
bit.
Isn't it? Yeah.
That playing by its own rules is exactly the fundamental snag I ran into with this. So like things breaking at trackside, like big billboard chevron things will break. Piles of tires will not.
Right, okay.
Which the first couple of times you do that is kind of frustrating, because it sort of feels like you should just plow through them.
Yeah.
Given how things
you can do some things, but not really. Yeah.
And there's a couple of like inconsistencies like that where you find out the hard way what you can kind of
going through the fucking windscreen.
Well, yeah,
this is the hard way.
Like it's things like that where it's just like, okay, I think I've understood, what the game is comfortable with me, rule bending and not, and then it'll just throw you something else, and you're like, oh, right, okay. And a couple of times the physics will go a bit wonky, and like, don't get me wrong, when you're driving and hurtling around a track, 9 times out of 10, it's there, it's with you, it's fine. It's just that occasionally, like on a jump, or it's got a really aggressive like automatic writing on the car and stuff like that. So you'll end up like sliding half a mile on your side and then suddenly flip over onto your wheels.
Okay, that is something that I'd say feels like it shouldn't be in a newer game.
Yeah,
like,
it felt like a throwback at best, or like it was more arcadey.
Yeah.
And there are other bits that kind of feel like it's trying to not be arcadey. Like, don't get me wrong, I know Simcade is a thing, but this doesn't quite feel like it ever nails the balance.
Yeah. It doesn't until it's fucking side sliding down a hill.
Well, yeah, exactly. Or like you'll hit a flag and it will just kind of pirouette. Like really, really fast. But it'll be there like 3 laps later still. And there's all sorts of little things like that just kind of take you out of it. Or like then never really seems to be any overtaking.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's just me, because I am bad at this game, but like it seems more like a conga line that you're kind of barreling through, which again is kind of old school.
Yeah, that always speaks to a bad game engine to me with racing games. That is in, well, okay, that sounds harsh, but that is in, where you just sort of like, it isn't prepared to do the grunt work of working out where the CPU is versus you and all the connotations that can happen from you maneuvering around these vehicles that are moving. It feels like it's just shying away from it to go, don't do that.
Yeah, and this is the thing. Like, it's not like I sat there and mapped all this out so I have like definitive evidence, but it feels like whatever the order of everybody is when you go into the first corner, that's how you're crossing the finish line. That's what it feels like. And I'm probably wrong, but it feels like it.
Look, we're not here to be definitively right.
Well, no, this is true.
We're here to say how we feel about these games.
I think for me, like the kind of good illustrations of this is like there's not much in the way of like car damage or stuff like that, but you can like shatter your headlights, which is fine and dandy until you're trying to hurtle through rural Iceland in the dead of night and you're going through a load of caves and you're like, well, okay, there's only so much rewinding can do to help me with this one.
I feel like you had that problem. Like, I'm sure you mentioned that when we played Dirt Rally. You were like, that was like the thing that. Really
but that's my point. Like on Dirt Rally, the way that everything was put together made it feel like it was adding to the challenge.
Yeah.
Here, it's just like, well, that's that then. Just quit the race and start again.
Yeah. Rewind.
Yeah. So, yeah, playing the game, like it does when it works properly, when you're meeting it halfway and like you've got a decent variety of events and stuff like that. You've kind of got to grips with the handling. It feels quite sensitive on like throttle and all that kind of stuff because grip is a bit of a premium, I guess. So like, that all when it clicks, it's good. It is good fun, and for £2-3, like
that's it.
You can't really go wrong. However, like I think for me, the biggest like illustration of my feelings towards this is summed up with the drifting.
Okay.
So it's off-road, it's big vehicles. You can, if you've got the DLC in and all that kind of stuff, you've got Humvees in there, you've got buggies in there, you've got all sorts of fun stuff to muck about with in there. You're going to want to go sideways, right? You just are.
No.
The game knows this, and it'll give you like points as you're sliding and all that kind of stuff. Same as if you're doing jumps, going fast, all the kind of stylish driving stuff. The snag is that it in other things, and the one that kept coming to mind, and it's a bit of a sort of apples and pears kind of a comparison. Yeah, you're about to say something.
Well, I just want to guess what it is, but
I was no, go for it.
Well, no, because especially apples and pears. In my head, it was going to be Outrun 2.
No, it wasn't. But the point will stand. Actually, the point will still stand. So what I was thinking of was Burnout 3, and Beyond, where if you are drifting, you're getting rewarded with like the boost that you can use and stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
Outrun 2 will, it's not like you slow down or anything like that, right? Like it's a good way of getting around corners quickly. Point is, they went, you're going to want to go sideways. We'll build around that. On this, you go sideways and it slows you down. So if you're doing a lot of drifting, you're going to get overtaken a lot and you're going to lose.
Rather than
Yeah, so you can build up loads of points, and like they count at the end of a race towards your sort of player points level and all that kind of stuff. So you can unlock cars, but you're not going to get as many stars, which means you can't progress as much in the career. So it feels like a trade-off. Like I can either approach the race with like slidey arcadey, like, hey, I'm having great fun, but I'm coming last. Okay, so I have to keep doing this track. What, 9 more times until I've got enough stars to, you know, and
enter the grind.
Yeah, I mean, granted, it's not quite that bad, but like, nonetheless, you do feel like, okay, well, I can either do what Gran Turismo 4 taught me for gravel and slow down before the corner, go in carefully, be careful with the throttle coming out, or I can try and play it like it's Sega Rally and not come first.
Yeah,
and when you kind of decide which one you want to do, yeah, sure, it'll accommodate you, but like, it felt too often like I was doing one or the other rather than what I wanted to do and still progressing.
Yeah.
Which made it a little bit frustrating for me. And don't get me wrong, like I'm sure there are people out there that have managed to nail the balance and can do both and fly through it absolutely fine. But the way I was approaching it, the way I play it, and the way it was kind of naturally falling under my thumbs and fingers, it just wasn't coming off. So yeah, you could say that I didn't click with it. I think that's fair. You could also say that for £3, you know, like...
Well, yeah, I mean, you know, you're right. Except for, I think, like nowadays, for example, I bet you could pick up, you know, Dirt Rally 2 for like £7 or £8, like on probably Steam or, you know, in the sale.
Yeah.
You know, so.
But I get why Dirt wouldn't be everyone's cup of tea.
Yeah.
As well.
But so well. I mean, it's not, you know, but it feels so well made.
I think it's good at hiding the gamey bits, you know, the bits that kind of pull you out of what you're doing.
Yeah.
Like it's a lot more immersive, I think.
Okay.
And whereas, gravel, I just never really like gelled with it. I never got into it. I never like sat in it like a warm bath and all that kind of stuff, you know? So yeah, it's a bit of an odd one for me. And I want to like it more than I do because there's a couple of like fun event ideas in there that, while the track might not be, you know, completely vast and open, does make it feel like it's vast and open. Okay. You know, one where you're doing a checkpoint run across a desert and stuff like that, or like for every bit that feels fun like that and deliberate, you've got a bit like one track in Iceland, where you start on an airport, you've got a plane going overhead, and it's all kind of fun and cool and tight and twisty-turny, and then it opens out onto like a windswept beach and stuff like that, which like I'm sure is like accurately
looks
haunting and vast and bleak, but in the game comes across as boring.
Yeah, it's
like they forgot to put things in it, and like there's a fine line between accurately representing a place and being evocative in a game, and I think you could be evocative while not forgetting it's a game.
Yeah,
you know. So I think this whole thing, what I'm trying to say is it treads that weird middle ground between arcade and sim. Like I said earlier, I don't think it always sticks the landing, and the bits that it does bolt together aren't really the bits that I kind of look for in kind of either camp, I guess. So yeah, in that respect, and all things considered, I'm gonna give it a 5 out of 10, and like, it's still a recommendation. Definitely get it on a sale. I can see why people would like it. I really can. Honestly, I know I always say it, but I really do understand it. But I think there's a few little bits that just kind of stopped me loving it.
Yeah, and I think that sounds completely fair. I mean, consistency is, you know, important in these racing games. That is
play by your own rules.
Yeah, and it sounds like it doesn't do that often enough to be for you. You know, praised any further than that. So, but like you said, I mean, I've got it set up for £2.50. I'll probably play it at some point when I get round to playing it, and be like, yeah, cool. This was worth the double cheeseburger money.
Yeah, like absolutely. And don't get me wrong, like I'm not gonna, you know, forsake it forever now. You know, it's like I'm never gonna go back to it.
Oh yeah.
But like, given the list of games that I could be playing instead, it's unlikely that it's going to be near the top.
Yeah.
But there will be times where I'm like, you know what, I'm in the mood for.
Yeah.
And it's going to be there.
Gravel in my pants.
Gravel. And yeah, it's I feel kind of conflicted about it, but at the same time weirdly zen about the fact, like the kind of averageness I feel.
Yeah, you're looking very zen today.
Like it's just sort of like, because I think what it is, right, and I think the reason why I'm kind of oddly, and I do mean oddly, taken by it because of its averageness, is that usually when I'm scoring stuff 5 out of 10, it's because it's made me feel nothing.
Yeah, okay.
And this one's actually like, no, this is like, I think I'm relatively confident in saying
this is where
why
it is.
I think this is 5 out of 10. And in that respect, it's actually weirdly a triumph. Because, like,
it's the royal wedding of 5 out of 10.
I do care about it, like I will think fondly of it, but at the same time, like, I'm not going to lie to you. I've only had a few hours with it, right? It's not like I've sat there and I've got double digits and all that kind of stuff, but I feel like I got everything I needed to out of it.
I'm already
for my £2.
I'm already terrified of the 5 out of 10 contest at the end of the year, like, because I feel like Gravel's is in such a good position now.
Yeah, so... but that's the thing. Like, I would much rather give this 5 out of 10 and go, you know what, you did actually work for those 5, rather than just like, I don't care about it and it makes me feel nothing. So yeah, like, you can tell that there was some care and attention and effort put into it, I think, is what the decider is.
I can tell because you used a wonderful sentence such as the way that the buttons fell beneath my fingers and thumbs, and I was like, that sounds wonderful. That's brilliant.
I'm not gonna I don't want to give it a kicking, and like, lest we forget, 5 out of 10 is like, it's still a recommendation, with some caveats, So this is the year I elevate 5 out of 10.
You watch. Right. Here we go. I've got one that I'm playing at the moment, a game that for a free play that I'm like, I don't think it's as good as Gravel, but it's kind of hovering around that, and it is like where I'm asking myself, do I recommend this game when I do the review of it, or do I not? And it's just, and I need to be very clear with myself and our audience why or why not that is. So cool, thank you for that. So Micro Machines, so this is the original version, and when I say the original version, I mean not the 1991 version that was released on the SNES, but the port to the Sega Mega Drive in 1993.
Right.
The reason I picked that is because I've already picked what I would say is an influential game in my life, a racing game or driving game in my lifetime, possibly the most influential game in Grand Theft Auto 3. I would say that from a childhood gaming perspective, this was really influential on my life, like in general as well. The Dark Souls of Sega Mega Drive racing games, wrapped up in a nice, neat little tiny toy package that feels really fun.
6-year-old Fazz belting around the playground, yelling at people to get good scrub.
Yeah, dude, like, and so I would. There's a couple of reasons why it was so influential to me, but I'll just kind of go through. Because it was so important to me, I kind of looked a little bit more into the history this time around, like, just rather than obviously just playing the game previously when I was younger. And yeah, it was interesting development sort of with Micro Machines, in so much that Codemasters kind of hacked the NES to make it work, and Nintendo weren't happy about that. And then they had a glitch in the NES version, so they created the Game Genie to fix the glitch, and right. Nintendo were not happy about that. And then, so much so that it went to court between Codemasters and Galoob, I think you say the name, but it's now Hasbro Micro Machines, and worse for it, if I'm going to be honest. But Galoob were the toy company that made Micro Machines and helped fund Codemasters hacking of the NES and making this game.
Reverse engineering.
Okay, let's call it reverse engineering. I mean, they've already been through court and won, so I think it's probably fine.
Hacking.
So they reverse engineered that NES. So it's amazing, really, to kind of think that somebody went up against Nintendo twice for two things that you would probably think quite very grey ground, and got away with it. And then the third thing that they did was that they effectively, this is just me from researching on the internet, like in articles and stuff like I find. My understanding is that they pretty much held Sega hostage to say, you will have a port of this game because we could hack your code too. Like, so I'm just like, fucking go Codemasters. Like, as in, all my days, like, as in, all the way over here doing talking about Dirt Rally and, all that kind of stuff, and Colin McRae Rally and things. And actually, they were just sassy bastards at the start of the 90s. So I loved that about it. And that made me love it even more, like, for what it was. So
the forbidden fruit angle.
so crazy. Just like, like I can just imagine someone just putting a foot through a door at like Sega HQ, just like, fuckers, I'm in. Like, okay, what do you want? Micro Machines. Just come in with a little tiny toy on the desk and just like, look at it, stare at it. It owns you. But yeah, I used to love Micro Machines, the toy as well. I owned a sort of camper van set that I still do. It's at my parents' house. It's one of the only things that seems to have survived, and my children play with it. We've bought the newer version that actually lives at our house, and it's nowhere near as robust or as good. The Micro Machines are terrible compared to it, but it's still Micro Machines. So we got one at my house, one at my parents' house. It still works in theory. There's a few bits that have fallen off it, but yeah, it's sort of like possibly the only thing that I don't want to say sought after. I've got two things in my parents' house. I've got original Tracy Island, and that Micro Machines camper van. The problem is that I don't understand all these humans that seem to have these toys that are perfect condition. I played the shit out of those things. They are battered to fuck because I've played so much with them. But I used to love going to my cousin's house as well because he had Micro Machines that you could see images through the back windows of the actual vehicles themselves and stuff. It's so cool. That is in, see this tiny car that's 150th the size of a normal car, and then there's a tiny image on the windscreen that you have to look through the back windscreen through, and they were just used the way before, really evocative to me. And I've spoken about on the podcast before that I'm not really a car person, but for some reason Micro Machines like a thing for me. Like I used to love playing Micro Machines, and I look at my children now, what they play with, and they play with these things called super things, which you just buy down the corner shop, that are just these little miniature sort of random objects that have been, I guess, humanized, and they play with it's like small world play, and Micro Machines is just obviously perfect small world play. So yeah, really great. And then all of a sudden on Christmas, it might have been 1993, probably more likely 1994, at the cost of what I assume was probably £60 to my parents. Micro Machines turned up for the Sega Mega Drive. And yeah, so at that kind of cost, you only have one or two games when you're younger, basically, I think like James Pond 2, Sonic 2, and this were pretty much, and Desert Strike. They were like my 4 games. So yeah. The problem, it isn't a problem. That isn't, but because I absolutely love this game, as you'll see. But the problem with the game is it's so fucking hard. Like it's just so difficult.
You want a Game Genie for that?
Yeah, yeah. Those bastards will make me pay another £60. It grabs you in a way that it looks that certainly the Mega Drive version, the sprites, the shadow work, the colours, the soundtrack, it's all beautiful, wonderful, so crisp for a gaming experience from 1993. And you have all that, and you're playing with these little miniature toys, and it kind of eases you in, and then just grabs you by the balls. And the thing I think that I feel most influenced by this game is just building up some tenacity to the point where I finished this game when I was younger, and I think I spoke about with Desert Strike before when we did EA Replay all the way for the PSP, and that Desert Strike and this were probably the hardest games that I remember. That is, in Sonic 2 was pretty much a breeze, and that's not obviously being glib, but like compared to these two games, and certainly this. Have you ever played this version or any version?
I am I go back to Micro Machines 2.
I've got it
over there on the Mega Drive. I think it's a slightly different version to the one I had. The one I had back in the day was where the cartridge had the 2 extra controller ports, so you could do 4-player. This one that I have nowadays does not. But yeah, me and Turbo Tournament go way back.
I think that's if you just look around, I think that's the most highly rated Micro Machines game. But a lot of them in the series. I mean, there's PSP games that I considered playing. And there's V3, I think, on the PlayStation 1.
Didn't they start adding in weapons and stuff like that after?
So, one has tanks in it, but there's not and it is weapons, but not like and then they obviously started
hammers and stuff like
adding
that.
in proper stuff. So
I don't remember there being anything like that in 2. That's the only reason I asked. Like you could have like massive dump trucks and stuff like that. But I don't remember.
I believe
weapons.
I can't remember the way it was released, but certainly I had Micro Machines Military,
right?
Which I think might have come out before Turbo Tournament because it felt more like one, but it was just more variety of vehicles and a couple of different weapons from the first one.
Right.
But there was still like for the first go around for this, there was still like quite a lot of variety in it. And so anybody that hasn't played Micro Machines, the actual video game, it's a top-down racer. And you have these, I guess, normal-sized environments, if you will, that you're driving around in. Breakfast tables, snooker tables, gardens.
Bathtubs.
Yeah, bathtubs. And you have a variety of different vehicles. Most of them are cars, but you get some boats, helicopters, tanks, which for a first go-around, I'd forgotten that before I played it again this time round. I'd forgotten that all that was in the first game. I thought it came after military. So to go back and see helicopters there and boats there, I was like, oh, actually, there's a lot of variety here that I forgot that even existed. So it's even better than I remember it being, really. So, there's like even the variety in the cars. Like there's buggies to jump over sand dunes, and then there's sport cars, Formula One cars. I think that the best, I guess, the most evocative memory that I would probably have would be driving a Formula One car around a snooker table. It's just so magical.
For me, there was a Top Fuel dragster. You had to do like the oval on a bathtub.
Yes,
So that one always stays with me.
Yeah, and it just it's the most basic sort of way of playing a racing game. Really, is that you have 3 other CPU. So if you play the challenge mode, you have 3 other CPUs on the track with you at the same time. We'll come on to how that rotates around in a minute, which again is a really clever idea. And basically it's just, usually I think it is always 3 laps around these different arenas. Every single race is on a different racetrack basically, which is again really, really cool. So they have a similar aesthetic sometimes. So I think that the breakfast table pops up 3 or 4 times. The woodwork, I think it's like a woodwork room, almost like a school setting, like as in with rulers and pencils and files and stuff. That pops up like 3 times. And when you're on that, that's always sports cars. Fuck, they are hard. Like it's in all my days. Like I genuinely might still. I believe I've got a fear of rulers, maybe. Like it's in the ruler part of getting across the tables, like on a sports car, whilst you're competing against these 3 CPUs, and you have to finish in the top 2 to progress to the next race. You start off with 3 lives. There are opportunities to gain lives in time trial tracks. I think there's 3 of them through the process. There are 25 different races to complete. There's no save states, so there's no codes or anything like that. You've just got to go. Like, this is the first time I remember leaving my Mega Drive on all night. Like, just because you have to, because you're like, like I can't lose my space. Like, it's in, and yeah, you've got this progress you've got to get through. 25 levels. This time round, in about 5 hours of playing, I made it to the 22nd level. So
nice.
I'm quite impressed about past me being able to complete this game once, which I did, and I remember the relief of the tension that is in but the amount of times I must have practiced different tracks and things, where this time around I probably could do it. I probably was going to get there, maybe, definitely maybe. Whereas previously, it'd been a real grind just to get up to, like, say, race 20.
Yeah.
So you've got the challenge mode, the time trials. They slap. You're in like a mini monster truck, and you've got to go across, find your way through a garden area, but much like the tires in gravel, that is, you can't knock over the little plants, little shrubs that are in your way. You just bounce off them, and there's like little puddles, and like you've got to get across. You have to weave your way really intricately across some rocks, across these little puddles, and if you go off that, then you sink, and you get, I think it's a minute to get across, or maybe even 30 seconds, round this track. If you get round that in the allotted time, then you get an extra life.
Right.
I don't think I was ever good enough when I was younger to be able to do that, hence why it was so hard. Whereas this time round, I'm going to say I didn't find it easy. I'll tell you the times that I finished them with left on the clock, all 3 of them. 4 41 hundredths of a second, 400ths of a second. No, is it 4,000ths maybe? I don't even know what the times are. And 10 hundredths of a second. That's how much I'd left. The elation, the joy, the sheer unbridled just enjoyment of playing this video game and feeling that at the age of 38 in 2 weeks' time, like, as in, to sort of feel that just encapsulates how well made this game is and how much it means and how exciting it can be even now. Do you know what I mean? It's so far into the future of when it was made. Like I said, they're not kidding about with the challenge mode situation. It really is like a massive challenge. Like, you can see the way that it presents itself on the screen as well. You don't get to see a lot of what's coming up. Yeah. So you have to memorize from previous runs. Or, you kind of get that first lap to fuck up, and then that's it. Like, you're not catching up after that, really. So you you do probably need a couple of go rounds to learn the tracks, really. Yeah. Especially when you get up to like sort of level 20, 21, 22, 23, when it's really difficult. I think it's 23 where sports cars cap out and on the workbench one. Right. And it's so difficult. And the thing is, I'd started, again, as an adult, understanding that after each level, it almost shows you, like, collecting your micro machines in... if anybody that loves micro machines would know that you kind of get, like, this little wooden, like, plastic or wooden house it can be, where you can actually store them in. Right. And you can sort of, like, you can put that on your wall if you wanted to, or keep in your bedroom. And you kind of get a digital version of that. Nice. And you'll sort of see which cars are left. And almost, like, I kind of got to the end of the sports cars ones, I was like... Is there another sports car race left? Because they're really hard to handle. They rip, but they're hard to handle. And I was desperate for it to not show up again. But yeah, it did for me. I think it was level 15, level 21 were just like, I had specific areas where they were like, okay, I'm not very good at this. Like, and it was that type of car, I think. So it's really... So we talk about trimmings as well, like, as in, so the soundtrack's wonderful, the perfect chiptune soundtrack. And I'd never played the NES version, so I looked at it this time round just to see what it was like versus the Mega Drive version. And the Mega Drive version is definitely, as you would expect, obviously a step on, like, when you're talking about, I guess, what it would look like and sound like, but it definitely is the definitive version, I think, of this game. Nice. And yeah, the trimmings being that, the animations of the characters. So there's characters that you pick a driver, and it kind of, I don't know if it does or doesn't make a difference necessarily attribute wise, but it kind of tells you about who they are. So it'll tell you. So the first driver is always Spider, and that's like, I always go Spider because I'll have clicked on him once. He'll have always been my first driver, and he will always be my driver. And he looks cool. He's got his shades on, and it looks like, if anybody's watched Trailer Park Boys, it looks like Cyrus from Trailer Park Boys. It's just like, and yeah, it just. Each character has their own cool animation, and I think it might be every 3 or 4, you pick your driver and 3 CPU to go up against. And so, like, Bonnie, for example, she'll like be, I don't know, really, it'll say like cool, and then it'll be like one called like Dwayne, and it'll be like, goofy and stuff. Sorry to my friend Dwayne from home, he'll see that. I'm not making that up. And he'll sort of like, is there a Walter maybe? And he's like quite heavy set, this guy. And like, you can pick these 3 that you start off with. And then after about 4 races, one of them drops out. Right. And then you have to pick someone else to come in. So I don't know if there is or isn't a tactic to bringing in the cool or harder people from what it says on the screen. I need to look into it more probably. But like, as in, to have them early and try and knock them out early. Or they kind of stick around a little bit longer. So I remember Cherry being, like, as in, she's like the blonde bombshell, and she was a real thorn on my side. Anne, who is like, I think she was described as nice, which is really hilarious because when she loses a race, she's fucking livid. Like, as in, like, she's red in the face, got this like, kind of frizzy hair that kind of just like looks like it's like been electrocuted and stuff. Like, these just cool characters that you kind of just go, you didn't need to have that in there, but they did, and they added something to it to make it feel like you were really invested in Spider, seizing the day and making sure he would be the one that won. So, yeah, I'd never be Bonnie. Bonnie's an arc, but it's just a feisty game. It's just that there's a couple of areas where there's a couple of tracks that are a bit long, where you kind of get periods of time where you're just going along a really long straight and not really interacting with the obstacles as much as you should be, almost, if that makes sense. So like I think there's one where you kind of like run into glue quite often, and that's hard, but at least it's something to interact with. Where there was, I think it's like track 11. I mean, very specific. If anybody wants to go away and play it or has played it, there's just 2 or 3 really long straights where nothing's happening, and you just kind of feel like, is the game broken? I've been going on this straight for so long, isn't it? But generally, all of the little interactions with all the obstacles are brilliant. Like I mentioned about the snooker table, like in a Formula 1 car, you're ripping around that. The joy that you get sending one of your CPU rivals to their doom off the side of the table, that is in, and you have to go at it. That is in. It's like they're made of lead. Like is in, you nudge it and you think, in a game nowadays that'd probably be enough to send them creating off. Whereas in this, it's like you just hit them and they just look at you like, what the fuck are you doing? But going down the pockets and popping back up, and you've got the chalk. So the Q chalk sort of lines and things. Yeah. Even the finish line is a pool cue across the table, and just all the little minute details that just make this amazing. To be successful, it's finding the right corners that you can cut off without the game saying, no, you can't go there, and it drops you back. Yeah. If that ever happens to you, you're kind of a bit stuffed, that you end up being really far back. There's a few times where your CPU like rivals look just as lost as you are. Like so you'll think I
was just thinking that's basically what I was saying about gravel, but like what 20-30 years later. So yeah,
just throwback, like spinning
design,
spinning around a rubber. Like is it honest? Just like, and you kind of just blast past you. You're like, at least you're fucked too. Like
all in the same boat.
So there is another mode as well, which is your head-to-head mode, which you can do it versus a CPU, but that definitely seems to be, I think, geared towards being a multiplayer situation because, well, obviously, let alone that the challenge mode is just a single-player mode, but the head-to-head, you have to, I don't know if you remember this, not race to sort of be the first to the top, edge of the screen, yeah.
Could you still do the thing where I swear it was on the second one? You could do this thing where like you could do 4 players, but on like 2 controllers or something like that. So you have like one of you's got the 3 buttons and one of you's got the D-pad.
I think that you can. Yeah. But maybe not on this version though. Maybe not. It didn't seem to. I can't remember there being a 4-player option. I think it maybe was the second one. But yeah, like so. Like say you race to the edge of the screen. If you get that far ahead, then you earn a point. And I think you kind of like, it's a bit like a tug of war. So you're both start off on like you and your opponent start off on 5. I guess I want to call them little dots of a certain color, either red or blue. And the more you earn those points by finishing higher up the screen, then you'll win. And it's a sudden death sort of thing. All well and good. Like I guess it would be really fun playing against a human counterpart versus the CPU. Who never fail. Like, that's a difficult sort of sell. Like the first couple of levels, they kind of seem to just be a bit take it easy on you.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, it's like, oh no, like especially when you get to the woodworking ones and the ones that are in, I guess classroom, and you're bumping into pencils. As soon as you bump into any pencil, that's you done. And it's like there's no room for failure on that. So again, it just. I think as a child it was difficult. As an adult, it's difficult. Like, as in, that there's definitely a difficult level here that you just need to be very patient with it. I think that the head-to-head mode probably tips over on the wrong side of that, whereas the challenge mode is just pushes up just perfectly against it. Like, and I guess that would be who you are and how you feel about things, and that's why I mentioned the Dark Souls sort of comparison of like how it pushes up just against it, and it's like. Does it overstep the mark? It probably does, like sometimes like Dark Souls does. But then for me personally, it's thrilling. Like it's into the point where you're just on the edge of sanity, basically. And also a table probably. So yeah, it just really well made and honed. And for a game company, Codemasters, who hadn't done many sort of racing games necessarily before that. They were well known for Dizzy games and stuff and everything. It just seemed like I could just see how this landed on the scene with an absolute bang, and then they crafted it even more for the Mega Drive, and yeah, it just made this wonderful experience for me as a child that I spent many, many hours with and never got tired of, really. So yeah, there are difficulty spikes, like I say, and there are the head-to-head mode isn't necessarily amazing, and not all tracks are created equal. But I'd say that 75% of them are really, really good, and there's just a few that you kind of go, like boat races, for example. The boats are a bit just like with gravel. Actually, that is in. There's no real overtaking with boats. Like once you get ahead, there's no threat or anything. There's a whirlpool every so often, but when you learn where that is, then you just
that's it.
Yeah, you're fine. Do you know what I mean? The old rubber duck to jump over, like isn't it? It's just sort of like it's not as bar of soap even. It's they're not needed. Whereas the helicopter races, they're funny because you really bounce off the walls in the helicopters, like isn't it? And it really affects you. So even clipping a leaf is just far too much to be able to take. And there was one point where in this playthrough, where I got pipped at the post. I'd been leading like for quite a significant amount of time, and I just clipped a leaf going around the last corner, and fucking Bonnie came round and just beat me to it, and you're like, oh god, like is it even that I didn't lose a life because it came second, but it was just like the shame I felt, the shame of like as in just not seeing the race out, like. So yeah, this game really does pull a lot of emotions out of me, and I'd say a lot of positive emotions, and a lot of angry ones too. So yeah, I say in 2026, and I say this like genuinely thinking about, and we'll come on to this in a second. All the scores I've given games this month. This is the game that I've played that I've enjoyed the most, and I think it's the oldest. That is in. So this is probably my favorite retro game. I think like it's over 30 years old. Like is in. Yeah, I think that. Yeah, I could just sit and play Micro Machines forever and be angry, sad, happy, but feeling things.
Go through the entire gamut of emotions.
So I'm going to say an 8. To be. That's probably to be objective. If it's subjective, it'd be like 1,000 out of 10. But like, about an 8, I think, because there is stuff in there that might get ironed out in later versions. I haven't really played them that much, but that's made me feel like I do want to play some more Turbo Tournament that I think a lot of people sort of said was the one, and possibly even have a look at the PSP ones, maybe even for next Dryve January. So yeah. Nice. A real good way to finish up all the driving games. Should I have a little mini audit?
Pull over to the side.
Yeah,
just have a check at the scores.
Yeah, we need to talk about how many minors and majors we've had in this situation.
Do you want me to do a quick?
Just buzz through the scores and we'll just sort of see what we've had over the last month or so.
So Burnout 2, 4.
Okay.
Gravel got 5.
Yeah.
Trials HD, Trials Rising, GTA 3 Definitive Edition, Split Second, Colonoscopy, and Twisted Metal all got 6.
I'm really sorry about that. Like,
it's alright, it's on you, isn't it?
No, Vanilla 6.
Trials Fusion, F-Zero GX, Simpsons Hit and Run got 7. I'm already starting to think I scored F-Zero GX low.
Okay.
F-Zero X and Micro Machines got 8.
Mm-hmm.
Gran Turismo 4 got a 9 and Burnout 3 got a 10.
Okay. So you feel like maybe the only one that you've kind of left behind a little bit, maybe F-Zero GX, you think?
I think that would probably have a strong argument for an 8 out of 10, but for different reasons to F-Zero X.
I think that's what you said at the time, though, wasn't it?
You said 7 I think it is. And I think looking at it now, I'm like, might have been a bit harsh with that one.
Well, after the podcast, we can do a mini mulligan if you want. You can. It's
all right. I don't care that strongly about it, to be honest with you. But also, like, I do wonder if perhaps I've scored Burnout 3 high and all that kind of stuff. So
I don't know. Burnout 3, it's just so
good.
So good.
It is very good.
Just so much fun. I don't know how else to describe it. Just so much fun in a game.
Even after I said that, my brain just went, yeah, but it is good. Like, it is good.
Shut up.
You did actually enjoy it.
Yeah.
What you've played of it, you've actually liked.
Yeah. Well, that's it. It's like, and I think that the only thing I felt a bit weird about was that when I saw those scores and you just read them out, like all those 6s I gave. But I genuinely do feel like the couple of Trials games and Grand Theft Auto 3 now, that is in, and split second. Maybe the only one I think possibly, but I was maybe a bit harsh on, was split second. Maybe that could have been a 7, and I said that at the time it was like a 6/7, I think. So I'm not fussed, but that is in, that's probably where that one that I think that it didn't gel with me as much as maybe other people would have done. So that's the only.
You can see the appeal.
Yeah, exactly. Cool. Dryve January done again. So probably no more racing games for a little while.
Yeah, let's roll this bitch. They can throw away the keys.
Oh my days!
Set light to that in the field.
What, Burnout 2?
Just driving wrong.
Maybe. No, it sounds fucking killer. That's amazing. Yeah, I love that shit.
Well, my wife doesn't let me use the car.
That should be a video game. Yeah, where is the car? Down the hill. On that note, thank you very much for listening, guys, and we'll speak to you again soon.
Cheers.